Welcome back, everyone. So in this video we'll talk about our fourth point. So if you haven't watched the first 3 points, I highly suggest you go back, watch those videos first, because all these points are interconnected to some level. And if you have made it so far, congratulations, you're serious about your freedom. And let's talk about our fourth point. Our fourth point does not require whiteboard so much, so I'll be doing more talking than doing scribbling today. If you have mastered first 3 points, this will be just the benefit of first 3 points if you followed. This point is simple and we all want to do this. We all want to do this. Now, this point will pinch a lot of people. I'll tell you why. Because people will be like, oh wait, if I had freedom, I wouldn't be watching this video. And if I had freedom, I would be traveling. So, how is this a principle of freedom? And I'll tell you how. You know, a lot of you guys have only lived in one city. Only lived in one city throughout their teens, throughout their 20s, maybe in your 30s. You're still in same city. You have never changed your city, never changed your surrounding, and that did not ever allow you to get new perspective. And to counter that, go travel. And let me extend this point even further. Traveling gives you perspective, gives you clarity. Perspective. And look at that, good catch. Experience. And this is super important. Freedom is not just about your physical freedom. It's also about how you perceive things, how you look at things and retrospect them. If you don't have enough perspective, if you can't look at one thing or one situation with multiple angles, you don't have perspective. And now perspective is very important. This allows you to make clear decisions. Now, some of you will say, I don't have enough money to travel. I can't travel. You don't need money to travel. You don't need a lot of money to travel. Save $1,000, go 5 hours away from your city and live there for 5 days without knowing anyone. I moved from Vancouver to Winnipeg, had no fucking idea who I'm gonna bump into. Had no one living here. Me and my partner, that's it. I did not need anyone else. So do you guys. Go travel, find out what's there to look at. I'll tell you an interesting story. And I might use some markers for it. The story is, I used to live in a city in Punjab. Or you can say PB. And I had certain set of friends in my circle. And once you live in that circle for long enough duration, it gets harder and harder to know new things. You know what I'm saying? It gets harder and harder. The more you live in certain circle, certain group of friends, the harder it gets to break out of that circle. And as you know, these are principles of freedom. And freedom comes from knowing your surroundings and knowing out of your surrounding, what goes outside. So when I moved to Canada, my circle changed. My group of friends changed. So did I change. I met new people. New people gave me new things to discover. And then I moved again. I moved again. In Canada, I lived 4 years in one city, and then I decided to move again. And then my circle changed again. My friends changed again. And I change again. So I got so much perspective by moving, it's hard to comprehend. It will give you freedom of choice, freedom of time, and freedom of clarity. We often mistake freedom with money alone, but freedom of clarity is one of the biggest ones. If you don't have clear thinking, you won't be able to make any decisions that allows you to get even further free. And to some degree, this can only be achieved if you have mastered first 3 points. First 3 points will allow you to get some financial freedom. If you know your assets, if you know your liabilities, you will have the ability to travel. If you have your own infrastructure, that will make sure the money comes in more than it goes out. It's a game of inflow and outflow. Your inflow has to be more than your outflow achieved. So we'll get back to our point. I could not shoot beyond this, and you could have seen scribbles in the past. So we'll continue our point. In all honesty, if you were to follow first, second, and third point, which is respect money, be indifferent. Second point is build your own infrastructure that would help you to have more inflow than outflow. And third point is know your assets, know your liabilities. That will give you enough money to change circles, to go travel, get new perspective, get new clarity, and get more experience. And this clarity, keep in mind, all these points are interconnected. So clarity gets hindered by one thing and one thing only. Two things. And I can't think of any other thing than these two things. If someone can think of any more, please write it down in the comments. It's affected by two most important things. First, liabilities. It doesn't allow you to take proper, clear decisions. If you are liable for the house you live in, if you have mortgage attached to it, if you have phone bills, and you know you can't leave your job because those bills would be overdue, past due, that will add a thing on your plate. And human mind can only process so many thoughts, and then you have another thing added to your plate. It robs you of clarity. That's why the past point says understand your assets, understand your liabilities, because going from 0 to 100, have no liabilities. You don't want to lose this at any point. Now, some of you might say, why do I need to travel? You, my friend, need to travel the most. If this is the question, I've never met a person so far in my life who doesn't want to travel. But if you're the oddball, here's why you need to travel, my friend. The moment you leave your hometown and go to some other city where you see unfamiliar scenarios, where you meet with people you don't know, your mind will have a big shift. And that's what we're aiming for here. I'll give you an example. I went to Chicago, the biggest city I've ever been to. Chicago was so damn big. When I came back to Winnipeg, not that I'm downplaying Winnipeg, but when I came back to Winnipeg, I was questioning myself, why do I live in the city in first place? Out of all the cities in the world, why do I choose to live in Winnipeg? I live in -40. I don't know how many of you have ever even seen -40. It's not appealing at all. Most crimes in the city, throughout North America, I guess, not North America, but Canada for sure, most crimes. So when I went to Chicago, I saw big buildings, and I also saw one more thing. I was in downtown and I saw so many Lamborghinis. I've never seen in my entire life. I've seen so many McLarens over there, and I was thinking in my mind, how come so many people here have so much money, that so much disposable income, that they're buying McLarens, Lamborghinis, like these are Toyota Camrys. And I realized they're buying because they have disposable income, and a lot of money flows through Chicago. Remember that, because I know for a fact one of the option exchange, I guess it's called Comex. I'm not sure what. Yeah, I guess it's Comex, Chicago Options Market Exchange, something like this. Google that up. Comex. I'm damn sure $1 trillion, billion dollar flows through that. So where money flows, people will fill up their buckets. You see? Now that's a perspective you get when you move or go travel to different cities. If money flows, people can fill up their buckets, bigger buckets. They have bigger buckets, they have fancier cars. And also a funny story, when I went to Chicago, I went to this bar, fancy bar, very fancy bar. Now this has nothing to do with this, but this does have to do with this. I started talking to the bartender. I got to know that Chicago, at the time of Prohibition, was one of the most booming cities that had most alcohol sold, period. Al Capone is from Chicago. And I knew that before going to Chicago, but I knew that. I went to this bar. I started talking to the bartender, and he poured me a glass of this thing. Now, first, I didn't know. I just told him it's my first time coming to Chicago. I have no idea how big this city was till I came there. So he said, whenever someone tells me, the bartender says, whenever someone tells me that it's their first time, he offers them this drink. It's called Malote. Now, Malote does not mean that city in Punjab. It's a name of the drink. And this is the shittiest drink you'll ever have. The shittiest drink. And this was made to have drinking competitions in Chicago. Did I knew this? No. Does it help me? No. But it does sure tell me history of Chicago, that how big Chicago is, how rich its culture is, and this gives me more clarity. So the point I'm trying to make is, go travel, get out of the current circle you're in. If you've lived all your life in one city, try new city. It's very daunting task to do. I remember moving from Vancouver to Winnipeg wasn't easy. Dealing with all this snow that we deal with here wasn't easy, but go travel, get perspective, because freedom will be most appreciated when you follow first 3 points. That allows you to then do your fourth point. And once you travel, you'll have more clarity to make more better decisions. I hope this video did teach you something, and I hope that till now you have watched 1, 2, 3, fourth point. This fourth point is very important to add extra clarity, extra perspective, extra experience to your life, and then that will add to your freedom. I hope you liked the video. I hope you subscribe to the channel if it added some value. I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.